We go. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Totally Local Podcast. The Totally Local Podcast is all about Monmouth and Ocean County, local businesses, colorful characters, all the things that are going on. I'm so happy today to have a guest that brings love and light into the world through visual and audio wonderment. I have DJ Adam Worth with me. How's it going, man?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I'm stoked, man. I wanted to do this for a while, and just never did. But here we are.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
All right, cool, man. So first of all, I'm super impressed with what you've been doing during all this. Is it like did you start? I mean, if people don't know, Adam Worth is a DJ, specifically around, Asbury Park is where you got your start, right?
Right.
All right, cool. And you do more than I would say the average DJ, because not only are you playing music, a lot of DJs are like music selectors, real talk, but you rock a party, you play music obviously, but you've incorporated visuals to it, and another part of it is your actual like turntable skills, which I for one I can mix house music with two vinyl records, like that's kind of it's easy if you practice, but you're actually like you do way more than that. Like you're ripping into things, you're mixing between songs rapidly. And you kind of have mixed, you've taken like what DJing was, and then you've mixed it into not even what it is, but like you've taken this whole visual thing on top of it. When did you feel like you wanted to DJ? You got like kind of the bug to start DJing.
Well, first of all, thank you for all those kind words. It's very, I love how you put it there. You make me sound really great, but thank you for that. But I started DJing pretty much in radio at college. I went to Monmouth University and had a radio show there where I would play funk and soul records. Nice. And that sort of led me to a gig at a bar called the Springdale Cafe in Long Branch.
Cool.
Now, yeah, and long closed bar, I think. But pretty much just someone called and asked me if I would do what I was doing on the air at their bar. So I bought like a second turntable, and that's how I started DJing. And then I got interested in like the technical aspects of like turntablism and battling and like kind of the old school like two turntables and a microphone like culture and everything. So I just started practicing, and then with the advent of like digital vinyl laptops but working with laptops and allowing you to control MP3s on turntables has sort of rejuvenated my DJing and allowed me to start incorporating videos and stuff years later, which is called video mixing, or like DJing technically. So I started mixing videos just about 5 or 6 years ago, I guess. I have a background like in film production, so it was sort of a good fit for me to sort of incorporate this sort of visual element. So now I do a lot of like music video mixing, and so I'm mixing music on the turntables, but there's technically I'm mixing the music video, so you see a visual element to my show, be it the music video of the song or just like another cool like visual of some kind that I've like put together. So that's pretty much how I started and where I am.
So when you mentioned your video and media background, your award-winning video background, right? You've taken home, well, what did you take home? You took home an Emmy, a Grammy, something like that?
Yeah, I won 3 New York Emmys in video journalism, cinematography, and editing, and I've been nominated like 8 times.
That's crazy, man. That's awesome. So, I mean, I find that if you look at kind of DJs, that are out there, it's rare to find a DJ where it's like, yeah, you know, my passions are like accounting and music. It's this weird combination where people love like artistic, like the video side of it or the graphic side of it, and then those same people kind of gravitate towards, you know, DJing as well. It seems to be kind of, I guess, an obvious mix or a complement to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I just got lucky in that I was doing sort of a 9 to 5 in like TV and video production and DJing like for fun, and eventually technology sort of enabled me to like kind of meld the two. So it was just kind of luck that I was doing what at first seemed like two totally unrelated sort of jobs, and then you know video mixing sort of became accessible with the faster computers and all that, and it just like allowed me to like to sort of mix the two in a way. So I was just really just got lucky in that I was building separate skill sets that 20, 30 years later end up having a way to be combined. So just really just completely lucky.
So your setup now, I remember seeing you at, what was it? It was like one of the Indian summers, maybe the first, second one, third one, I don't know. But who was I hanging out? I was hanging out with like Foggy Notion, or somebody was there, and he's like, come check this out. And he like took me, you were playing like up by Anchor's Bend, like on the top, like where the bar is outside and everything. There's all those random rooms that are next to it. And he took me in there, and you had like the two turntables set up, and then the screen behind you. Are you using like Serato when you're mixing?
Yeah, I'm using Serato and another piece of software called Mix Emergency, which basically it ties into Serato, and it lets you basically mix videos. So instead of putting on an MP3 file, I can put on like a video MOV or MP4 file and sort of mix that just like you would mix records or music. So I can use the turntable to scratch the video. I can use the crossfader on the mixer to sort of cut in and out of the video. So the crossfader and the mixer is controlling the audio, but it's also controlling the video transitions. So
is it like when I see like you'll have like 80s music videos and stuff for the song you're playing, is that file, is it an MP3 synced to a video, or is it the actual like video file?
No, I'm actually putting on the video file in that case. Although there are times when maybe there is no music video, or I don't have a music video for a song, where other visuals will come on sort of automatically, when you set the software up in a certain way. So when there is no video, I will have other visuals come on, like movie clips that I put together, or just animations, or old VHS footage, or whatever. Maybe you can kind of use your imagination, but like, so in some cases, it's the random video that's not synced coming on. But if you see the music video, then that is the actual video file that I'm sort of mixing and then playing.
Do you, I've talked about this so many times, it's stupid, but I used to DJ. I consider myself retired. And I was talking about this in an interview recently, where somebody was asking me, whatever my background. And I just kind of fell out of love with it because, and I mentioned this to them, is just there's certain kind of DJs where you can rock a party. Like people show up and, you see who's there, you catch a vibe and you play to them. Whereas I was kind of, a snob, and I'd just be like, I'm going to play whatever I want, and you're probably not going to like it. So sorry. And like, that was, pretty much the bell curve of my DJ career. But you have one of those talents. There's definitely other DJs I've seen where they kind of tap into the vibe of the crowd. Do you find that you have like a set idea going into the night what you want to play, or do you just kind of catch what people are about that are out and then just kind of play off of that?
It's definitely there's no sort of easy answer to that. I mean, like I've done a lot of extensive planning for gigs. Maybe a couple times planned out every song and just showed up and just it all went out the window immediately. Where you play the first 5 songs because you're into them that week or you're listening to a lot, but then you realize that it is just not the vibe of the room, and like you just end up completely improvising. So like, so planning ahead is a tricky thing. Like when you're doing a club or a bar or a place where they didn't come to see you and your tastes, and you're just kind of, maybe you're just the background, or more of a generic kind of entertainment. So
Yeah.
like having, like, after years of doing it, like having so many different, like, so much music and so much variety, and like being able, like, having planned for so many nights, you have to eventually, you have to plan for less and less, because somewhere in my folders there's a similar situation, like, that I've done before, so I can, like, sort of pull from that. But so yeah, it's definitely like having a good idea, maybe like having like fresh music just in case, showing up with like some level of preparation, like,
Yeah.
is good. But like I said, like, a lot of it is definitely like feeling out the room, and all that going out the window if people aren't reacting the way you want. But you can base a little bit on the venue, too. Like, yeah, the venue, maybe the management, the vibe of the venue is going to be a little more, leaning towards one style or the other. Maybe you can get away with a little more creatively in certain venues, so you can sort of plan for that, having a little more fun. Other times it's more of a strict, maybe they don't like certain genres in a venue. Maybe they encourage a certain vibe. It's like a loungy, it's like a hotel, it's like a dive bar, it's like a tiki bar, like these places can kind of like guide you a little bit. But you definitely have to be ready for any kind of random crowd that could be there, for sure.
What was it? What was it like when you started in that Long Branch bar? Like, what were you? The guy that called, the owner or whatever, called you up and said, "Come here and do a night." Was he expecting you to do like funk and soul and stuff like that?
Yeah, and back then I was playing strict only records. This was like 2003 or something. So all I had was records, and all I really had was like funk and soul records, because that was what I was passionate about. And so that was definitely my first experience of people coming up and being like, "Do you have like, whatever, like, popular rap song of the time?" And I'm like, "I didn't buy that record. Like, you had to buy the record."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I don't have anywhere near anything like that. And I actually remember showing up, and I put on a Gil Scott Heron like funk song called "The Bottle," which is about this is about like an alcoholic, like, kid, alcoholic dad, written from the perspective of the kid. So like it's like this like old like kind of funk song where the kid's complaining about his drunken dad, and I never like thought about the connection. But I'm starting to hear the music while I'm standing in this bar with a bunch of old men, and I'm like, and then sure enough, the manager comes up to me. He's like, "You can't play this here." It's like, so that was one of my like first experiences of like, okay, definitely need to read the crowd and have a sense of the venue before I put a song on.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I did that. I had a gig in Neptune City. This was years and years and years ago, and I put on Eddie Money's "Give Me Some Water," which I don't know. I love that song. And like the bartender came over, and she was like, all the people sitting at the bar, like it was a big bar, they were just like, "Everyone has asked to bring you a glass of water." And I was like, okay, I get it. That's funny. I'm not gonna play. You got to really think about what you're doing, in that sense, because you got to read the room or whatever. Some people might not always love it. So from that bar in Long Branch, when did you kind of? I would imagine that maybe Asbury Lanes was the first place you DJ'd in Asbury Park, or no?
In Asbury Park, let me think. The first place I DJ'd. That's a good question. I mean, for a while, I was working in like every venue in town back when there were a couple less venues, and like I'm not sure I remember the first one in Asbury, but I remember doing like the Wonder Bar, and I remember doing like Watermark, and I remember doing like oh my god, Harry's Roadhouse, I think, which was now closed. It's where Teak is. No, sorry, Taka. Taka is now. So there was a few that closed down that I was doing for a while. Unfortunately, I was grinding away when there were small crowds and few bars, so that sort of positioned me in a good place when people started showing up in town, larger crowds.
Yeah, people definitely started showing up. I mean, I think too, one of the great things about your setup, and I've talked to Neil Foggy Notion about this, because he's just all vinyl. Is when I've done vinyl sets, for some reason, like having the equipment there, it's like a big barrier between you and the audience, and they I think nowadays kind of respect it more, and they kind of realize that you're not going to have, you know, the newest friggin' whatever the kids are listening to. They're going to be like, oh, we're here to, you know, listen to what he has to say, which is kind of, I don't know, kind of nice. I always got like super sweaty and shaky when I started out on turntables, and like I would just get super nervous and like get all shaky about like just making sure the mix was good and all this stuff. So it is definitely, there's a lot going on. You're not just sitting there hitting a button, you know. There's a whole different kind of aspect to it, which obviously, you know, I respect that. As far as you starting doing these streaming, you know, did you do streaming sets before all this pandemic stuff happened, or was this kind of what kicked it off?
Well, I had been thinking about it for a while, and a friend of mine, Matt Lyons, had been encouraging me for a while, because I do this video mixing, and I have, you know, camera equipment from my like job as like a camera guy and everything. So I was kind of well positioned equipment wise to do like live streaming with videos, and you know, I felt like it was a good medium for the way that I DJ'd. But I didn't actually get around to it until the whole like the pandemic and everything kicked off. So like I sort of started right away. Once I was, you know, there were no more real DJ gigs available.
Yeah.
But it had been something I was like always thought would be cool, and had been giving a lot of thought to before that, just because I have a visual element, and I have like, you know, cameras and this like all this gear. So and a green screen and all that stuff. So I had been wanting to, you know, coronavirus was kind of the motivation I think I needed to get going with that, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people have just been, I mean, myself included, it's made it a lot easier to do, you know, the podcast. One of the things that I always had to deal with when doing this is just, you know, getting people in the same room is super difficult, and everyone has their own lives. So now I could just be like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you're stuck at home? Okay, great. And this kind of setup, although, you know, in some cases it's kind of like, you know, it's nice to be in a room with somebody and talking to them, but this definitely, you know, made it a lot easier for me to kind of schedule or kind of put this all together the way that I have it now. I just happen to have, kind of like what you're saying, I just happen to have the equipment, and I had this colorful brick wall, and everything kind of came together. Did you, when you started streaming, did you kind of run into any kind of technical difficulties that you had to work out along the way?
Well, I stream on Twitch, and I think that the one thing that myself and a lot of DJs struggle with is copyright laws. And, you know, on Facebook and Instagram, most notably, you can't really play any kind of recognizable music without the algorithms and bots of copyright protection automatically taking you down immediately. So I first started on Facebook, and the stream ended, I think, in like under like 5 minutes, basically.
They just cut you off? They didn't even like...
They just cut it. I'll cut it off. And like a lot of DJs are experiencing that. And you know, you'll see people, DJs, trying to play more obscure remixes or alternate versions, or using sort of, you know, less like just recording from their phone, or less higher quality audio that the bots can't pick up on. So people tried every which way to get around that, but in the end, like, it's an algorithm that's going to learn. And
so if you do it through Twitch, they don't care.
They don't flag your live stream and take it down. They will. You have, you know, the recorded videos, you know, the video on demand they call it, which is your old live streams, and they will get muted. You know, the parts that are copyrighted will get muted, and but the live stream itself won't get taken down. That's why a lot of DJs are gravitating towards it, and it's kind of really becoming a big destination for DJs. And I actually just heard today that Twitch poached one of a program manager or someone from Spotify to like start working for Twitch, which says that they're probably like going to start focusing more on music and stuff, because they've been a major sort of platform for gaming up till now.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's funny because like I just went through the whole process of putting my music like out there, distributed to Spotify and YouTube and all these places, and you'd think that they would have it set up to where if you're playing the music, that's a good thing, and that they would give the royalties or credit or whatever you need to do. They'd let you play it, and then they'd make sure the people got paid, as opposed to just cutting it off. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's a really broken system that really deserves us some more attention because back, when I was in radio, they would send you promotional music. They were encouraging you to play it. And then somewhere along the line, post Napster era, that just got sort of flipped on its head. And there is some kind of system in place because bigger DJs like, Jazzy Jeff and, Adidas, who hosts DJs on their Instagram, they're not getting flagged or taken down. So there is some kind of system in place for bigger names to be able to circumvent all of these copyright rules. But there's definitely, and yes, you're right. They could monetize, or they could have a link to the song to buy it.
Yeah.
Because their argument is that I'm uploading something and the person's not going to listen on Spotify, or they're not going to buy the iTunes MP3 because they can listen to my stream. But they're not going to go to my stream to hear one song and scroll through a 2-hour stream to find one song with me talking over it, upload it anyway. So like, it's just kind of a broken system. And there's something to be said for collage laws as well, which are being ignored, remix laws, and, creative reuse of things and promotional use, and all these sort of established principles, of creativity are sort of being ignored. And, just for the sake of labels and the recording industry monetizing all of these videos, even on YouTube, like, if you're a podcaster or a live streamer on YouTube and 1 5-second clip of a recorded copyrighted song appears in your video, even if someone just holds up a boombox to your mic for a second, the recording industry will flag the whole video. And at some point, they even figured out that it's better if they don't take it down, and instead they monetize it themselves. So they will then monetize your entire video, put ads on it, and 100% of the money will go to the label, to the recording industry, and none of it will go to the person who created the actual content.
So ridiculous.
Which is just one example of how the whole system is just sort of flawed. And not to mention all these out-of-work DJs who can't, appeal to their audience or do a live stream for 5 or 10 people who, or whatever, without being like taken down automatically by a massive conglomerate that no one can really fight against. But I've been trying to be an advocate for this argument, but I don't know. Hopefully this my voice could hurt a little bit. But.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like, I don't know. It's definitely a silly system. I really miss, not that I lived through it, but like from reading the history of DJing and stuff. You go to the beginning and it's like the DJ was just like, oh, this record's cool, I'm gonna play it. To where now it's kind of just. It's funny to listen to, like, say, just as a reference, like, say, like a Hot 97, they're just playing, like, they have it all set up. It's just like a giant playlist, and they're just playing it. They don't even have to be in a studio. They don't have to be anywhere. Like, you don't really need anyone there to do that. Back in the day, you'd have somebody picking songs, become like kind of the taste selectors, and then you'd go to see them and be like, I want to hear what this guy's playing because he has good taste, I can go on and on about rants. That's really what kind of that's when I had my meltdown. I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, and that's like what's sort of being taken away from especially and you're hearing more DJs complain about this now, that they can't do it. They can't work in a bar or in a club or anywhere because of everything that's going on. So there's definitely an argument for that to be made. And you're right. People do just want to hear a DJ's interpretation or just like someone else's, someone who might consider their favorite DJ as an arbiter of sort of good taste. And in the bar, you could experience that in a club or at a venue. But now Twitch seems to be the only place left where you can kind of do that somewhat legally, which is a shame,
Yeah, seriously. I mean, so since you started doing this, what's been the response as far as like, have people given you any feedback? Like how are people liking what you're doing so far?
Yeah, it's actually been amazing and a lot more than I would have expected. I even put together like a little reaction video of people's sort of posting in their Instagram stories and then posting on social media of them dancing in their house or
Oh, that's
reacting
cool.
to the video while they're watching. Because people will, I do a lot of themed, streams. So I'll do like an 80s and like a 90s, and I'll do like 70s and a yacht rock and all kinds of different like themes. So people will dress up and they'll send me like videos of themselves like
That's awesome.
dancing, or they'll be in a Zoom, call with other friends watching the stream. And I've had like friends, little kids, watching the stream. And the one thing about it is that you can, especially on Twitch, where you can, and I think streaming in general is, it's not a video like a YouTube video, where I think where the medium shines and why it's getting attention is because it's designed to be sort of interactive, and I think that's what it offers beyond like YouTube or just uploading a DJ mix or something like that, where it's live and you can interact with this person in real time. And I will, respond to people's, chat messages, take a lot of requests, like take a lot of feedback from people in the in the message box, and I feel like it kind of makes you feel like you're part of the show, and you totally are. And I think that's what it sort of offers beyond just to upload a video. And I think that's why a lot of people are finding it interesting, especially in a time like this where, you can have a connection with people. And I've had people like from all over the world, in Australia and Amsterdam, and
Cool.
making a lot of new friends, but also a lot of local people who would come and see me DJ locally, who are just, it just feels like a little bit of a semblance of normalcy coming back a little bit, just to sit, separately, sit social distance, with a few familiar people, watching a familiar DJ like play like familiar songs or whatever, kind of makes you feel like less like things are sort of turned on their head a little bit, So
What do you what do you think it's gonna? I mean, post all this craziness that's going on, do you think that this is going to like what you're doing now is somehow going to be merged with what was done before? Like when you go out and play live, do you see any kind of aspect of streaming like you're doing now, like out at a bar?
I mean, because I've had such awesome like and quick growth on Twitch, and I definitely see it as something I would like to continue. And being able to stream from a bar that I'm working at would certainly make it easier for me to sort of continue on Twitch while also actually earning a living. So that would be great. And I mean, it definitely will have changed everything. I feel like, for a lot of reasons. Like, first of all, because DJs were probably among the first people to lose work and all this, and will probably be among the last people to go back to work, because even when they open restaurants and bars, there's probably going to be social distancing requirements. Like, the last thing anyone is going to want is a packed dance floor for I don't even know how long. So adapting to the new normal is I think is definitely necessary. And like, even when people are back, like I said, like, I don't know when DJs are coming back. Like, that is, everything else is going to happen and be established as being okay before anyone is having like a dance party.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a good opportunity for me as a DJ because I was really good at clearing the dance floor. So maybe I could change my name to DJ Social Distancing and, get a following that way. Just nobody on the dance floor.
A lot of DJs gravitate towards streaming because I know what you're saying when you say, you want it to play, the music that you love. And I've definitely done a lot of gigs and struggled with that as a DJ, fighting that battle of what do I love and what do I enjoy playing versus like what I know this crowd wants to hear.
Yeah.
Sort of, they want to hear the same music that I'm kind of getting tired of. But I have new music or old classics that I want to explore, but I know it's not best. And I think DJs struggle with that. When you're a big time DJ selling tickets to a show at a big venue, then people go and they want to hear whatever you want to play. But when you're just working at a local bar or club, you kind of need to consider the crowd and everything. So there's definitely, I think, if you're not like an event, DJ, or if you came into it because you love music and wanted to come in from a creative way, I think a lot of DJs struggle with that. And that's where streaming, I think, shines, because you can go on there, you can play like old soul, like slow songs. You can play do like a jazz set, you can have any kind of creative freedom that you want, and you don't really have to answer to any crowd or whatever. So I feel like that's, what makes it a great medium for DJs. And a lot of the DJs that I look up to who, have streams, like they're playing, you kind of see what their real taste is when they're not worried about keeping the dance floor filled. They're playing their records that they have like at home. They're playing the music that they really love. And like if you're a DJ like yourself who kind of get into it, more as a selector to play like the music that you think was awesome, then then I think it's a great medium for you, and I think it's the reason why it'll still be around to some degree after social distancing is not so much of an issue.
What are you mentioned like DJs that you've been listening to? Like, what are some of the DJs that you think are doing pretty good with the streaming stuff right now?
Let me think. Well, I'm a big fan of like Scratch Bastard, who is good, like really highly skilled technical turntablist, but also like also a big fan of like funk and soul. So seeing like what records he does like a Sunday morning show with his wife, where his wife like pulls records off their shelves, gives them to him. He like scratches the song on like in a sick like technical way.
That's cool.
And then it's just like some slow like soul like Sunday morning jam or whatever. And he's got like his kid running around in the background. Like those are the kind of things that I think is just like quality entertainment. And Questlove, who's getting a lot of attention for his stream, is like, he's a super knowledgeable like music history guy, and he will talk about stories behind the production of a song, and just like a lot of like anecdotes behind music, and just like the background. And so he's like playing records that he loves, not worrying about filling a dance floor or pleasing a crowd. He's putting on records he loves, and they're just sort of talking to him like you would sit around like in your living room playing records. And like he's even got people like his friends behind him like sort of listening, but he has a huge like knowledge of music history. So he does a stream on Twitch and Instagram, which is definitely worth checking out. And and then there's a lot of video DJs like myself where this new medium of streaming, like I think, is starting to get more people interested in video mixing, which is always kind of like a obscure niche of DJing, really. So it's starting to get a little more attention to, which is awesome because of this medium. And and then even being able to see like guys like Jazzy Jeff, who I've always admired, like who he's still playing like party rock, like dance floor music, but so maybe he kind of seems like he's doing the show that he does live, but I've never seen live. So it's just like, it's cool to just be able to check out these shows, that I maybe never had the chance to go to, or like maybe they're based on the West Coast and they do, DJs who live out there. But so you're just being able to just check out guys who you like, maybe you've never, gotten the chance to see. And it's kind of like a masterclass in some ways for a DJ like myself to be able to see all these people so easily.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's cool. Like I would love that. I go to shows and I would just kind of go right up to the DJ, like hopefully on the side or something, and just kind of watch what they were doing. Just to, I would imagine it's from my guitarist friends, they would go to shows or watch YouTube videos of their favorite guitarists, and you'd look at like what the guy was actually doing technically, and it kind of. Some people would say it kind of demystifies it in a way, but on the other hand, it's like educating people on it takes a lot of practice and work, but it's not some kind of weird magic. You could figure it out, and it's usually not as complicated sometimes as you kind of think it is. It's just like it's just a one way of kind of learning, which is great.
Yeah, especially in a live stream where it's kind of unpolished and raw, and mistakes included and technical difficulties included. So like as opposed to listening to someone's highly produced like mixtape or like or highly produced like YouTube video of them DJing, like it's the real show that you would get in a live situation, and sort of the responding to the people in the chat room and everything in real time. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely like this. And the same with musicians, playing and sort of that unpolished sort of natural way in their own environment. It's like a whole new sort of perspective on live music, like of all kinds, I think.
What you've got a couple shows. You've got one on Thursday. You're doing a Prince tribute at 8 p.m.
That's right. On my Twitch channel, which is if you do a search on Twitch for Adam Worth, ATOM Worth, and I do theme shows. Like I had said, this Thursday at 8 p.m. we're doing a Twitch a Prince theme, which is all rare Prince music videos. It's all music videos of Prince and obscure music videos that he put out, and live performances of his. So it's kind of different than a regular DJ set as it's sort of video based. So it's all like the music video performances and live shows. And then I do a few shows a week, Monday, Saturday, and Thursday for the time being. And on Saturday, we're doing a Quentin Tarantino themed show, which is going to be all music from Tarantino films and inspired by Tarantino films, like soundtrack music. And all visuals will be clips from his films sort of playing on the green screen behind me. So it'll be like a Quarantino theme night. And,
I see what you did there.
On Monday, I think we're going to do all hair bands, 80s glam rock, metal hair bands, which it's all music videos too. So it's kind of like you get the full experience of like hair bands and everything. And, with people interacting in the chat box and making requests on all occasions. So it's kind of like a whole like fun event that's beyond just sitting and watching a DJ play. You can affect the playlist yourself, with your requests and everything.
And that's cool. I mean, mentioning all that, obviously, the DJs, you're the kind of DJ that has a broad range of taste, which, I I appreciate that. Like, I like everything crazy stuff to country. Some people are like, oh, I hate country music. And I'm like, dude, that's like ridiculous. There's so much country music out there. You might not like this kind, but there's also, these other people out there. I was like, you don't like Willie Nelson? What's wrong with you? So, like, it's good to hear that there's such a wide swath of stuff that you're kind of covering. And the fact that you're going to be digging into kind of obscure, Prince. I wouldn't even know like the videos. I wouldn't even know like obscure. I know he had a lot of stuff out there. And when he was going by like the symbol, like when I was younger, I didn't get it, because you get this media representation of what he was doing, which was, oh, he's crazy and being a jerk. But what he was really doing was kind of bucking against the system, wanting to release music. But a lot of it wasn't radio, playable, because of, the recording industry was not happy with him. But he has so much out there, even now, like so many different versions, so much stuff, that it's cool that you're going to be kind of tackling that,
Yeah, I had no idea really that he had so many videos actually, but I mean, I was able to find like 150 like videos, many of which are from just obscure like songs that a lot of people haven't heard before. A lot of them are from live shows. But apparently he was very diligent about recording live shows and about releasing a video with every single. So a lot of the videos are singles that just never sort of made it, as like a hit. And, but, a lot of live performances and, and there's also like, there's that VH1, famous VH1 performance from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when he did, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, kind of famous guitar solo. So there's like a lot of just really cool appearances, TV appearances that he did. And there's just like a whole world to sort of cull from. And I think that's, it's also a different take on it is the fact that there has to be a video performance of it, not just a song, because a lot of the songs we know, and, you'll recognize the songs, but in many cases, you might not have ever seen the video or knew there was a recording of him playing the song on video,
Did you find his Super Bowl performance? Because I've wanted to get like a whole his cover of Foo Fighters' "Best of You." Like, it's so cool. I've seen it before. I'm pretty sure I saw the halftime show when it was like live or whatever. But you can't really find the whole, like, just like a boom, like here it is, like especially on YouTube, they take that stuff down.
That's a great question. No, I actually didn't think of that performance. I should definitely.
Oh, it's so dope.
Into that, yeah. I could see where that would be something that they wouldn't want out there, though.
Yeah.
Between Prince and the way he sort of protected his intellectual property so tightly, and then the Super Bowl and the way they probably do the same thing. I'm sure it might be hard to find, especially because for what I'm doing, I need like that high quality audio.
Yeah.
Version of it too, so it makes it much harder to sort of find all that stuff.
So what do you like? All right, this is all kind of, imagine us teleported into the future where this is, quasi behind us. People are going out. Like where do you see yourself? Like where would be your ideal like local place to have a gig and have a friggin' like party that everyone could go out? Like where would be your spot to go?
Well, I guess I would probably go with, some of the places that I've been DJing at, because I've been lucky in that, I love a lot of the venues that I work at, or I did work at before, everywhere closed down. So like,
Mm-hmm.
I do gigs all summer at the Asbury Hotel. I do theme nights at the Asbury Lanes. I do a yacht rock night at the Asbury Park Yacht Club. I work at Little Buddy, and where will it all start for me? I mean, I'm not sure, but I know that the Yacht Club and Pete Mantis,
Pete.
the guy who books the acts at the Yacht Club, he's been booking me since my Springdale Cafe days
Wow.
for 20
Epic
years.
shouts to Pete Mantis.
Yeah, well, he's been a supporter of me since I was a young man that would play inappropriate songs about drunkenness at the bar. So I feel an obligation to him because he's been such a devout supporter of me for so long. And I love playing yacht rock. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. So I'm looking forward to coming back there because I have a lot of friends who show up there too. But I also love doing Little Buddy. It's kind of a tiki bar vibe, just a small bar where you can kind of get weird about the music. But I miss everywhere too. At the Asbury Hotel, and the kind of like that sort of like loungy
on the roof
vibe. Yeah, just like that outdoor sort of, sort of like fun vibe with a highly, diverse group of people of all different age ranges who would go there from all over the East Coast, so everywhere has its advantages, and they're all sort of glowing with nostalgia for me at this point,
yeah
being totally out of it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, playing outside, playing like beach bar or playing anywhere like our Anchors Band, like where you're outside. Even though I've played there and been like, maybe the crowds weren't as big as they could have been, but like I just remember being there and being like, this is awesome. Like I'm looking at the ocean and I'm playing music I love, and you're outside and like people are having fun. Like that's definitely something that I'm missing.
Yeah, definitely. I had just about every other Saturday booked at the Anchors Bend too, and so hopefully that will be returning this summer. And yeah, like you said, working right on the boardwalk. Going home with the sandy equipment cases and fighting off that like salt water, rubbing down your gear after the show and everything. It's like yeah, definitely. That's a really fun vibe too. A lot of kind of cooler, less touristy crowd over there, and so yeah. I mean, but who knows? When hopefully the summer is not just canceled. So.
Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, people have mentioned on Facebook and stuff. They're like, all right, who's gonna start doing speakeasies? And I'm like, that'd be great. Some basement somewhere, like in some seedy part of town that nobody's going to, and you give a password and you go downstairs. It's a crazy party, but
Yeah, actually, we have that mutual friend. I saw that post too, but I think the headline that would probably pop up a week later is like 4 people test positive after this party.
We'll get those contactless temperature guns. You just the bouncer will have like in his holster, and he'll just be scanning people as they walk in.
Yeah, you can't drink with a mask on, which I think is the key problem there.
I think you're onto something. We can invent like a mask with a straw attached. We're getting into industries that haven't even been thought of yet. Man, there's a lot on the horizon.
I think maybe like the beer helmet would probably be the only
That'd be perfect. The bartender doesn't even have to touch you. He just has to like put the cans on your helmet, and then you can take care of yourself. That's great, man.
Who knew they would come back so big?
Yeah, we gotta brainstorm. That sounds great. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate what you're doing and your passion for the music and the innovative way that you've hooked it all up, and the fact that you've kind of transferred it from what you were doing in a venue or a bar, and you've kind of taken it evolved it, and then taken that and then put it online. I think I think that's great, and I think that it's wonderful that you could like interact with people too. Obviously, bringing joy and happiness to people when they're stuck at home dealing with this BS that's going on. Thanks for spending this time to talk to me about it. And I will put up all the information on my Facebooks and whatnot about your upcoming shows, especially the Prince tribute that's happening tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Twitch. Adam Worth, ATOMWORTH on Twitch. So go check that out. Anything else, man? Or I think we covered everything.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun talking about it. So it's nice to to have something fresh going on and being able to occupy myself with something like this. And I'm just glad that we found a way to sort of stay connected through all this. So just thanks a lot for having me on. It's been fun.
Cool, man. Well, once again, guys, thanks to Adam Worth for being on here. Thank you, everybody, for listening and viewing and doing all that stuff. Please check out the totally underscore local underscore podcast. I think that's what it's called on Instagram. Or you're here on Facebook. That's where I'm at, and it'll be on YouTube and everywhere else you could think of. Adam Worth, thanks a lot again, and stay safe and keep having fun and having other people have fun.
Thank you.